here this morning.
It's hot up here.
Oh, it's set for 85. I adjusted it a little, see if I did it right.
You didn't put on AC.
Yeah, took the cool down to 69.
Shut the heater, it'll blow them both.
Well, whatever you want to do, but look, you can see what adjusted, see what it is, and get that down.
Turn the damn heat off first.
I thought we should pull them that did that.
Let's get along.
I played with it. Hey, are you leaving us?
Have to adjourn.
Couldn't get the windows open.
Taking another. Okay, I'm mad at you.
Congratulations.
You did a good job for us. You really did. Oh, you really did. Hate to lose you. How long? Couple weeks?
Sooner than later. Oh my gosh, turn off.
Oh, man.
Did you do something with it?
Yeah.
Still cycling? Oh, it's not making any noise.
There.
It is warm. For windows. Mine says 11.
Okay.
But I'm not sure it's correct.
It's 11. Okay. Welcome. It's October 24th, 2022. This is a county commission meeting held in the commission chambers at 147 East Main. It's 11 a.m. I'll ask you to turn off your phones or put them on silent if you would. Maybe I'll pick up my pen. We'll start out this meeting with Heidi Lindberg will give us the opening prayer, and Tanya Craven will give the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father in heaven, we ask you to please be with us this day as we conduct county business, that all will go well, and please be with those making decisions, and please be with our first responders, and keep them safe, and bless them for all that they do. We are grateful for thee, and we say these in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Tanya. Next item would be approval of minutes for October 17th, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes for October 17, 2022.
Okay, have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Mine is now, okay.
Is that good enough, or do we need to redo it? Okay. All right, next would be report of warrants and review of counter signatures, certified list of claims.
Okay, Commissioners, our warrants from this last time, October 21st, amount of $1,341,435.03. There are several on here that are out of the ordinary. This is monthly health insurance, $324,193. Holland equipment for $20,072.84. Jub Engineers, this is on the Central Canal for $209,450.68. And Ramsey Storage, $36,753.75. And next one, Vernal City, we had a bunch of pass-through of federal grant monies, and our cost share with them for $388,135.23 for the airport.
That JUB was a pass-through too.
That is a pass-through. That's a federal pass-through of that one. So to do your,
The Holland equipment,
came out of Fund 43, so I'm thinking it's part of the equipment that was purchased for the road department. That grant, or the loan grant, or grant that we got from the CIB.
oh, yeah, okay.
I didn't have time to see what it actually was.
Okay.
List of claims, Cache Valley Electric. This was an invoice from November of 2021 that just barely finally came through. It did have a PO originally. Then after where it was so long, it was voided out. So check number 382509 to Cache Valley Electric for $6,215. To Jub Engineers, the one we were just talking about, check number 382553 in the amount of $209,450.68. To Kunzler, Bean, and Adamson, check number 382595. This is legal services, $30,808.76. And check number 382595 to Quench, USA. $725, did not receive a PO or anything on that one. The next one is check number 382618 to Team Viewer for $1,738. And that's all the claims.
JUB one, that was an airport?
No, Jub Engineers is your Central Canal.
Oh, yeah. And that's a pass-through,
It's a
though.
pass-through of federal funds, but we did not. The Central Canal Company did all the bidding and everything on that one. We didn't have anything with it, so I'm going to present that as a claim because it did not follow through any of our processes.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Any comments, concerns? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize signature of the certified list of claims as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. Okay, cemetery certificates.
Just a few days. Mazer Cemetery, Donnie Frederick and Brindley Frederick. Lot 945, spaces 7 and 8. Lot 948, spaces 7 and 8. Lot 947, spaces 5 and 6. And lot 946, spaces 3 and 4. Continuing in Mazer Fairview Cemetery, Fern Long, lot 763, space 3. Moving to the Rock Point Cemetery, Phase 2, Douglas Ray Scott and Marquita Lynn Scott, block 331, lot A, spaces 9 and 10.
Okay.
And that's all of them.
Entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the cemetery certificates as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you. Hey, we was talking about it this morning on, is it the 7th November? Are you going to want that meeting canceled? Okay, so we'll cancel it.
Please.
Okay. That makes it easier for me, 'cause I wasn't going to be here anyway.
Then how's that easier?
Okay. So, just for your records, November 7th meeting, we won't have a commission meeting on that week. All right, tax matters today. Seeing none. Business licenses?
Good morning, Gabby Hawks Blackburn with Community Development. We have a few today. The first one is J Bar Services. This is located at 2336 South 500 East, parcel number 510956 in the RA1 zone. They applied for a conditional use permit to park a commercial truck at this location. which was approved, and we now recommend approval of their business license with the condition that they follow the approved conditional use permit and follow all home-based business rules and regulations.
Okay.
This is a trucking company. They'll just use the home as a home office and then also park their truck there.
Okay. Any further questions? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the amended business license with the, including the conditional use permit for truck parking at the home office, provided they adhere to all CUP conditions of approval.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
The next one is Behemoth Trucking, located at 2215 East Goose Ranch Road. This is another trucking business, but they're just using this location as, well, they do transporting supplies, equipment, and cargo, so maybe some hot shotting and stuff too. But they just use the home as a home-based office. They have not applied for a conditional use permit to park any sort of commercial vehicle or trailer there. So we recommend approval of this application with the condition that they follow all home-based business rules and regulations and that no commercial vehicles are parked at the home without first obtaining an approved CUP. This is located in the MG1 mining and grazing zone.
What was the name of that again?
It's Behemoth, Behemoth Trucking.
Behemoth.
Oh, sorry, I didn't read it. It is 66352.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the Behemoth Trucking Company at its home-based office, follows all home-based office rules and regulations, and no parking of the commercial vehicles will be adhered to us in the approval as stated. I guess that guy's covered.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
The next one is All Red Seal Coating Inc., located at 4735 West Painted Hill Drive, parcel number 43302. This is in the RA1 zone. They provided pictures of their equipment that they do, like the cracks and seal coating. They don't count as commercial vehicles or trailers, but if for whatever reason they do upgrade in the future, they'll need to park those at a different location. Because of this one's location, it does not qualify to have a conditional use permit at this location. So the conditions of approval on this one are that they follow home-based business rules and regulations and that no commercial vehicles are parked at the home.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the home-based business license for All Red Seal Coating. Is it coating or coat? Seal coat.
Coating.
Coating, with the understanding that they follow the home-based business rules and no parking of heavy equipment without a CUP at some time in the future.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
The next one is Rocky Mountain Hockey Tournaments, located at 3166 East, 5300 South, parcel number 661, 451 in the A1 zone. So they organize charity and amateur sports events, mostly for charity, but it could be other things as well. This location is a home, it's a residence, so they're just using the home as a home-based office. There's not an ice skating rink there, so it should be pretty clear that they won't be holding events there, but in an effort to have full transparency, we recommend approval of this application with the condition that they follow all home-based business rules and regulations and that no events are held at the home. All events will be held in other approved locations.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the business license for Rocky Mountain Hockey Tournament. that it follows all home-based rules and regulations, and just for clarity, there's no events are to be held at the home.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And the last one is KAB Tiling and Services, located at 540 South, 2375 West, parcel number 572-163 in the R2 zone. This they do tiling and light remodeling. This is like another home-based business, and they'll just be using the home for home office and some storage. They do have the proper licensing to do tiling and remodel work and things, so they won't be held to the handyman rules and regulations, but they will have to adhere to all home-based business rules and regulations for the storing of the materials at their house.
Okay,
And that's pretty much the only condition.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the home-based business license for KAB Tiling and Services with the understanding that it is an office location and storage of materials that do not require additional CUP approvals.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed.
Great, thank you.
That's all of them?
That's all of them.
Thank you. Okay. Next is bid awarding for the Western Park Ice Rink and Amphitheater.
Morning, Commissioners. Jess Herman, Facilities.
Good morning, Jess.
Morning. We got one bid in last week from BHI for our ice rink and amphitheater remodel and addition. And so we got a committee together and we went over their proposal. They meet the qualifications for past work that they've done. What we'd like to do today is we'd like to approve them to help us with this project, but right now we're going to be doing the pre-construction fee, and the pre-construction fee costs $10,838, and what that does is they will get us current pricing, because we all know that the pricing is all over the place. In the next 30 days, they'd like to get us pricing for all and what is available, so which way we would build the addition to the ice rink. And so today, we'd like to approve them to be our contractor and to approve this $10,838 as a pre-construction fee. And it says right here, for all work during the pre-construction period, and we agree to perform for the lump sum of $10,838. And then in 30 days, they'll give us a bid for the cost for the amphitheater and also for the ice rink to give us current up-to-date pricing and if that is within our budget to do the project.
So in that conversation, if I understand that correctly, then they're going to come back and say, hey, right now it's cheaper to use metal instead of wood or concrete versus depending on
pre-engineered building, or if they're going to just use metal studs or which way to go. I know some stuff's hard to get and it's 8 and 10 months out. So by doing this pre-construction fee, that way they can take the time and get the bid, get what materials are available. And then after that, then we will take those bids with the current pricing and move forward or take a look at it.
This is entering into a contract with them that will carry on through they'll be the general on this? Is that
They will be the general as if we approve the construction management fee and we move forward after this, after we get our first bids.
So what happens if we get this done and we just determine we don't have enough money?
Then what we'll do is, right now we're approving them, and then we will get a contract with them for this pre-construction fee, and we'll have John help us go through that contract. And then we will have it in our contract that if we don't have the money, then we will be done there, and we will stop there. But but it gives us the opportunity to get moving forward. I know when we were there, they're practicing hockey, and the amphitheater stuff's going to be going on this summer, so we'd like to get rolling on it. It's a great project.
Okay. Well, I've stated this in many meetings before, and I'm going to state it again. I have no ownership. I have no anything but a third cousin relationship in BHI. But being they're the only ones that bid on it, I am going to recuse myself from this vote,
Okay.
just because of the initials, and everybody thinks that I own it, and I don't.
Okay.
So with that, I will put it up for a motion, but I will not be voting on this issue.
Well, I've had, my concerns about this contract that we're entering into with them as I've studied it over, but it seems to be we're gonna have to get our costs down to play, and if that doesn't work out, we're gonna be able to have to just bail out, and as long as we can,
Yeah, or
it's,
what we can and can't do, and that stuff.
So, Mr. Chairman, well, I guess, stepping down, Chairman, or step down. I'd like to make the motion that we award this for the Western Park Ice Rink, for the BHI, for the pre-construction cost of $10,838 with appropriate signatures probably. Will that cover us?
Yes, and that'll get us rolling. They said it'd take about 30 days to get all the subs get their prices back. That'll give us we've had some estimates before, but we want to get some current, up-to-date costs of what it'll cost.
Okay, we have a motion.
So,
I'll give.
let's see
Yeah.
if there's a second, and then,
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Can I add some to what Jess
Yes.
is stating? So the way it was bid out is that it would be construction manager and general contractor. So if the motion can be that they would act as general contractor if we move forward
Yeah,
with the
that's-
project.
Yeah, that's right.
If we're not moving forward, if it's out of budget, then we kill it at that point. But
Yeah.
And at that time,
that's how it was bid out. That's what they responded to, was acting as contract manager and then moving into general contractor if the project were to move forward. So I think right now we can signal to them though that we gotta get the prices first before we can decide if we're moving forward on the project itself. I mean, if everything is inflated, 60, 70, 120% of what we think costs are, then if it costs, $2 million to build one bathroom, then no, we may just have to kill the project.
Yeah.
so would like to me to amend my motion to include that it's what? How?
Well, I think it would be that we're approving the pre-construction fee and awarding the construction manager portion to BHI as bid out.
Bid out.
And then if we do move forward into the construction phase, that they would be the general contractor.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to say that.
Okay.
Well, and the last part, and maybe this is just for comment, we need it before 4 weeks. This is taking a long time to figure out how expensive it is to put up a wall. I mean, we need to know. So I would just urge that if they're doing
Sooner
this,
the
they
better.
work with UELS, who are engineers, and we have it finalized by 4 weeks, not we have a chat in 4 weeks. But that's just my commentary.
Well, it really probably ought to be a part of the motion, because if they're, they don't want to come back in 4 weeks and we have a chat, we need to
Yeah,
move forward with this.
I would imagine less than 30 days, but they just got to get with their subs and all the different suppliers.
Okay. Do I have a second to the amendment?
I'm not sure what the motion was. I'd like to hear it again
Oh dear, thanks,
in its
Bill.
entirety.
The motion is as stated, just for clarity, but then Commissioner Horrocks added that they would be selected as the general contractor if we move to construction, subject to funding.
What about the 30 days to get back or some time frame to get back the pre-construction information? You said that was 30 days was a long time. Do we add that to the motion?
I think 30 days
We
is
can do
probably
it.
proper to give a contractor time to get the bills together. If we can get it sooner than that, that'd be wonderful. But
But if it doesn't
that-
come within 30 days, then
yeah, we need to give them
that
enough
clause to
time
terminate?
I would say yes.
Does that have,
What if you have the motion say that we need to have all costs submitted to the county within 30 days? If not, then we reevaluate the
The
approval.
whole contract?
We reevaluate the approval.
That'll work.
okay,
Okay.
that's your,
Yeah.
that's your approved motion. I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this amended motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
I abstained, so motion passed.
Okay.
Thanks, Jess, for your work. Tracy and Melanie, thank you guys all for the work you put into this. Okay. Next item is the 2022 Homeland Security Grant Program acceptance.
Heidi Lundberg, Emergency Management. The Utah Division of Emergency Management awarded Uintah County $245,691.90 from the 2022 Homeland Security Grant Program. And this grant is to support state and local efforts to prevent terrorism and other catastrophic events, and to prepare the nation for the threats and hazards that pose the greatest risk to the security of the United States. So I just ask for approval and signatures.
Okay. I just had a comment, but I'm not gonna say it right now. No, I appreciate the work that you put into getting these grants. I know you spend a lot of time,
Thank
effort
you.
getting those, and it makes a lot of difference. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve acceptance of the Homeland Security Grant Program in the amount of $245,691.90, including authorization of signature.
Okay.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks again. Oh, here we go. The next item is consider approval of the trail project with Vernal City connecting Discovery Elementary to 1500 South and sidewalk along 1500 South. Quinn? Is this yours?
It is. Quinn Binion, City Manager, Vernal City, and the Mayor. Mayor Hammond's here as well. He can take the tough questions. Are we hooked up here? Can I just, yeah. I think it's right here. Yep. Nice. So cover a few items today. I think it'll work best if this becomes part one of part two of two. I don't know that it's you'd be prepared or if there needs to be any kind of agreement, then we'd need to have that drafted. But this is a good overview and concept for you to consider as a commission. So a little background. Those of you who are familiar with Discovery Elementary School, built, I believe, in the 80s, and it was placed in a neighborhood, which probably sounded really good at the time, but they didn't anticipate 700 students, and it's not on a major arterial street or minor even. So it does cause a lot of congestion in the morning and afternoon during drop-off and pickup. If you go there, Robinwood Lane, you've got, I don't know how long that would be, a half mile of cars that wait for significant periods of time for pickup, particularly. So we've been working with school district for years on what are better ways to encourage students to walk or bike or carpool. They have increased the number of buses that go to Discovery. But we continue to try to brainstorm other ideas that will help. Enter the Dino Trails Committee several years ago. They recommended what we're calling Discovery Trail. And it's from, so this is a overview. Hopefully you can capture where we are. So here's Discovery Elementary. And in the back, they own quite a bit of property in the back, the school district does. And then, so the proposed trail would come along this fence line, jog to the west, and then down to 1,500. And it's 1,700 or 1,900 feet. So what is that? Just short of a half mile. And we've been contemplating this potential project for many years, just waiting for the right timing and the right approvals. We have secured an easement, and we give great appreciation to the Jones, Ryan and Shauna Jones. They signed a trail easement, and we worked with them on their irrigation and livestock concerns. So with that easement, we did commit to put rail, kind of a sample up in the upper left, commit to put a log rail fence on both sides, so that alleviates any concern about people going on the property or livestock on the trail or vice versa. The trail took a few steps forward when, through Dino Trails Committee, we submitted for a UDOT grant and we were awarded that, and that will pay for 60%. Then it moved even more steps forward when we worked with Tri-County to get a grant from Department of Air Quality from the state, Division Air Quality from the state. And so between the both of them, it covers 95+% of the project. And in your handout, I showed you the anticipated or the engineer's estimated project, which is $455,000. We expect that to be a little bit higher given our contractor prices. But we wrote the agreement with Department of Air Quality that their funds could go anywhere from 180 to 230. So we're hopefully have enough to cover that. And then Vernal City would commit to cover, if it goes above that, would cover above that amount. Why we're here is this, one end is in Vernal City and the other is in Uintah County. So want to coordinate with you and Scott Hardman on how to work through that and what permissions are needed. You see along 1500 South, and as part of the project and as part of the probable costs, we're proposing a curb and gutter with a curbside sidewalk as illustrated in this photo here. And that's 770 feet, and that's in county. And also to move, there's a crosswalk. So this is the, kind of jumping around a little bit, sorry. This would be on 1500 South looking west, and the trail would drop off. It would come off of this right at the exit. It would exit or enter, however you look at it, from the road right at this location. If you go further west, there's a sign right at of Central Canal that shows crossing, and then painted on the street, it's faded, at least in this Google, school crossing, and then further down is the actual crosswalk that comes into the Quillbrook neighborhood. So the proposal would be to move this crosswalk to this location, and the request from, when we propose this at City Council, the request would be to put in, similar to what you've done at Mazer Elementary, put in preferably a ped-actuated crossing with the bright LED lights and the solar panel. Talked to Scott Hardman a couple times. The ones at Mazer were 3,000 each, and we're thinking the ped-actuated would be closer to 5,000 each. And our proposal would be, again, all the rest of it's funded, but our proposal would be the city would pay half and the county would pay half of that. So you're looking at a 5,000 crosswalk. Now, there may be details that need to be worked out as far as, meeting Scott out on site and with the engineer, make sure we're looking at it properly. But this is our proposal and concept, and would like feedback and what instruments would be needed to make it happen. We would hope to bid this. The designs are 90+% done. Hope to bid it this winter, December, January timeframe, and then build it in the spring. So it'd be a 10-foot wide asphalt path with the log rail fence on both sides.
And the total cost to Uintah County,
Would be our request would be the 5,000.
5,000. How much of that is in the county?
So the trail itself, 1,900 feet, is in Vernal City. Then when it hits 1,500 south, goes into the county. So the 770 feet of sidewalk and curb and gutter would be in the county.
Let me just ask a question. I like where you've moved the crosswalk down. It does concern me that it's in the middle of a road somewhere, not at an intersection.
Yeah,
So
agree. I
higher
agree with
speed,
that.
for kids crossing over. Question I have is across the street, Matt, isn't that been proposed for a subdivision? And if so, isn't there an exit that comes out right there somewhere?
That'd be headed east.
Yeah.
Matt Kazir, Uintah County Community Development. There's a subdivision proposed to that corner. I believe that subdivision is further to the east, though. It doesn't take up that entire property.
Okay.
And I think the exit to it is further east of this location. John was asking me about that as well.
Yeah, I thought it was about right there where that arrow was, but I could be wrong.
It's a little bit hard to tell from without seeing exactly where Fifth West is.
Just so we don't end up putting it
Yeah.
right
And there is an engineering reason why the curb and gutter on the south side with the sidewalk. I just don't remember what it is, rather than on the north side, because that was one of my questions. Well, if the crosswalk's already at that location at the T intersection at Quillbrook, why don't we just go along the north side? And there was something that prevented that.
Well, if this subdivision goes in, I mean, that's just another.
Yeah, it does go on,
It's
south.
better
Yeah.
if it's there.
And I agree with you. I'm not a fan of mid-block crosswalks, absolutely. In fact, we've said no to many of them. The challenge here is you don't have we don't have full intersection from 500 west to 1,500 west. You do have the couple T intersections there.
Does the crosswalk, would it include a light or something that would flash, like when they push a button that it would
That's
flash?
what we're hoping. That's what we would like to do, and that was what was suggested at City Council. Would we have a ped-actuated crosswalk instead of timed? It would be ped-actuated. So if they were using in the evening or early morning, you would hit that and it would flash this. It'd be a solar-powered LED lit sign.
Are they? Who did the engineering? Sunrise?
Yes, correct.
Did they look at like they did at college? I mean, did they look at a tunnel or a walkway or something?
We didn't. That would be a whole another,
I just
that'd be
asked.
several $100,000, I'm sure, to do tunnel.
I like the project. It gets a lot of kids off the streets. I mean, that part I like. That's the only concern I have is that.
We did do a survey. There's close to 700 students at Discovery, and worked with the neighborhoods south here, those along 500 and in Quillbrook. There's a roughly 100 students that are there, and that may not sound like a lot, but that's 1/7 of what attends there at Discovery.
Is that how many are actually walking home?
Not very many walk now because I don't know that they want to send them along 1,500. I wouldn't send my fourth grader. I don't have a fourth grader, but I wouldn't send my fourth grader along 1,500 south on a bike or walking. It's kind of
Well, those are some of the issues with Fifth West too, right? And the
Right.
sidewalks are being put in there to
Yeah,
help
so
with that foot traffic
correct.
as well.
Yeah, so Fifth West does have sidewalk all the way to 1,500 south. So if you can get to there.
Oh, sorry, I was just talking about when people are heading more towards town, those kids
Yes.
coming home.
We've
and those are great
expanded that
projects.
twice, and we hope that continues all the way to Fifth South, correct?
So has there been, sorry, Mr. Chair, can I just ask a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We're in discussion here.
Has there been, from Sunrise, you had mentioned at the beginning of your presentation about the traffic issues at Discovery and how much that they think maybe that will help alleviate the traffic concerns rather than, because I understand school children's safety, getting from point A to point B, all that stuff, but are they also anticipating and have they quantified how many cars this may alleviate in that neighborhood? Because that's as a parent who will quickly not have a kid there anymore, but have for a long time, that is a mess trying to get your kids from
absolutely.
that school.
So we know there's 100 children that attend there. You know, how many are carpooling? Is it 4 in a family? Is it 1 in a family? Again, we would hope it pulls off. We don't know the numbers. We haven't gone to that depth, but you know, we're hoping it pulls several dozen off the road in the morning and afternoon, especially in the good weather.
You know, it kind of looks like to me that if a parent discovers that they could drop their kid off right there, what is is it a wide enough road or wide, any consideration of that, you know? As you discover that, instead of waiting in line 20, 30 minutes, you might be pulling up there and
Having them
dropping
walk,
your kid off right there.
get some energy out walking, right? So here's what it looks like. I've parked on the right-hand side, and it was very comfortable.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. Park or swap for that.
I just
Yeah.
thoughts, you know.
Good thought, good idea.
Did you have a traffic count on 1500 South?
We did not.
I think that's a busy road.
It is. There's a crosswalk there now.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
It
I guess
just
our thought
improves
was
it.
to move it.
I like the idea of moving it, because I think that other subdivision is gonna happen, and you're gonna end up with 50 to 100 kids
More
out of there
Yeah, more.
going to it.
Yeah.
So commissioners, unfortunately, the drawing we're looking at is not a public document yet, so we can't throw that up. They're working through paperwork and community development. But in looking at it, it does look like it's probably closer than what we're thinking.
That's what
So I think we probably do need to have a little bit of coordination.
Great.
Just to
Yeah.
make sure we're not bumping up against other uses.
If there is a T intersection nearby, that would make the most sense for the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think we ought to look at that with that upcoming plan, so.
So
Yeah, I
next
like-
steps would be we'll coordinate with Matt and his office on where that would be, update the engineering plans, and then what kind of instrument do we need, Commissioner John, on permission to build? Or
I visited with Scott about it this morning. He's in favor, likes the project. His big concern is when it comes down to putting the signs up in the crosswalk, want to have more than just a meeting. We want to go out, and if we have to do rumble, whatever we need to do to
Right.
make that safe for those kids, it was his biggest concern, so.
So I
I'm
think
surprised Commissioner Stringer was waiting for the maintenance ask question.
Oh, that's always, but it's, pedestrian activated. Why pedestrian activated instead of, that sounds like a potential problem. Because kids come wandering through there, and when you look at the other busy intersections, 2500 West, there's a crossing guard for a reason. Pushing the button and then waiting for the light, how often does that light cycle? Can the next kids coming along push it? Can you end up stopping traffic? That's what the crossing guard does, is prevent undue buildup. Sometimes they hold a group of kids. They see some more coming so that it's not a continuous stop and go on a busy street. That Hawkeye that they had for the high school in Roosevelt, that was a problem with traffic. There was enough traffic on that road to where sometimes you cycled through, you get to watch the light change a couple times before you could get through. And I know what kind of problems we had on 2500 just there at 500 South, trying to get people engineered to slow down for that. And we eventually, due to public pressure, removed those signs. People just weren't, it wasn't working out. It was turning into a speed trap. And kids are more important, there's no doubt, but a mid block crossing on a busy street like that that's running 35 as a suggestion. I don't know, it's a little troubling, but perhaps going out and looking at it on site with traffic people, you can come up with something a little better, but it is a little bit of a watch out.
Yeah, our thought on the PET actuated is because I would envision more than just school times this being used. I think there'll be people using it for recreation, for walking. Maybe there's a night activity at school where they'd walk up and play on the playground. So our thought was, instead of limit it to whatever that would be, a half hour before and after school, that you would actually be able to actuate it.
And that's fine, but the lesson you learn from UDOT is the one that we have out here had to meet a traffic count, not of the cars, but of the people. They just don't like to put that kind of impediment to traffic just because you got the money to do it. There's another group of people involved here. And I know 100 out of 700 is good, plus the recreation side. But so I was curious about the traffic count. So anyway,
Are you
those are
thinking just
thoughts.
a push button one instead of motion activated by a pedestrian, or what do you think?
I think they all have to be push button, or every dog would set it off going down the road.
Yeah. Our thought, I don't know what process went through to place the crosswalk that's already there. Maybe there was a traffic count, there was an engineering study. Again, our thoughts was primarily same amount of traffic that's here as there would be just to the east.
But it is an intersection.
Yeah.
Well, it's a T. Yeah.
You know it's there. There's actually a light, I think, at all of the intersections. There's a pole there with a street light. It's a natural place to see large vehicles. That's why most of them are at, those mid-block crossings like in Salt Lake. Those things are heavily marked because they are in the middle of the block. It's a big deal. It's not just a painted on the ground kind of a thing. Anyway, that doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. It just means be more thoughtful about.
And we could revisit going back to the north side of the street. I just don't remember, there is an engineering reason why it wasn't on the north side. Because if it was on the north side, then you could hit this one again.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help the future growth either.
Yeah,
On that side.
then we're not on this, yeah.
So
Well, I
what are you
appreciate
looking
it.
at today?
Present this concept, feedback just as that just has occurred, and if the county's open to paying for half of the signal, which we estimate to be 5,000.
5,000.
And then through the 2 grants in the city, the other 450 or 500,000 would be covered.
So we ought to entertain a motion for the 5,000 then.
At least in concept, and then I don't know if there needs to be a different instrument
I
or
think we
a right-of-way
just have
permit or.
essentially a quick little funding letter, a funding commitment
Okay.
letter. But I think I'd like to see what the final plans are before we know what we're funding.
Okay.
Right, so
Yeah.
I would say maybe it's a little premature for the commission to take that up. I think they can signal that this sounds like a great idea. Please, based off of this conversation, please get some additional information. The other thing we can do, because this would be a joint city-county project, I think we would want to go through our normal kind of road encroachment process, but we can waive any of the fees associated with it. But I like having that documentation whenever there's going to be some physical structure or something placed within our right-of-way, we keep track of all of that. So
Yeah, agreed.
if we're gonna have signs and stuff like that placed in and any other additional construction, we just get a road encroachment permit put
Agreed.
together.
On the maintenance, so the city would take on the curb and gutter maintenance on the south side, or the county would, because it's in the county. The city would do the maintenance, required maintenance on the trail and the fences. And then we will be asking the school district, they don't know yet, to mow. We're gonna leave a mow strip between the trail and the fence just to keep it clean. And if they are not able to, we'll have to do that.
Did UDOT agree that does it fit under their safe school?
This funding was not a Safe Routes to School project, and it was not a Safe Sidewalk project. I actually don't recall what grant this came through, but it did not have to be on their system, and they pay 60%. It was a trail system something.
Trails something.
Yeah,
But basically, then, we can just, no motion, but to.
yeah. Well, I'll
favorable.
come back.
I think
Yep.
I think it's a great project, Quinn. It
Yep.
looks very favorable.
Yeah, thanks for your
and
time.
everything
Appreciate
like
it.
that, so
Thank you.
listen, Appreciate your work and time and effort on it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming over. All right. Next item would be general plan amendment, discussion amendments to the resource management plan portion of the Uintah County General Plan.
Okay, Matt Kazir, Community Development. This is on as a discussion item today, just to kind of go over what Planning Commission has recommended to the County Commission on some updates to our resource management plan, which is a component of our general plan. These changes were mandated by the state. Our resource management plan's mandated by the state, and they made some changes to what's required to be part of that this last legislative session. So we're just trying to get into compliance with that. So this part here that's shown on the screen, these are the chapters that were either amended or added on our resource management plan. So you can see that Chapter 6, Energy Resources, Chapter 12, Land Access, and Chapter 16, Mining and Mineral Resources. Those 3 chapters were amended, which means we added things to them. And then chapters 29, utility corridors, and chapter 30, pipelines and infrastructure, are new chapters, and those two chapters are required by the state that we address those in this plan. And then so in this resource management plan, we have policies that the county supports. And so this portion of the plan, the resource management plan, has our policies. And then all the information that backs those policies up was put in an appendix. And so this is the appendix here. And so these are the chapters in the appendix that were amended. You can see the titles are the same, but the numbers are one chapter off because of just how it worked out when it was put together. But so this is where all the background information or documentation is, that resources that can be looked up to support our position on different things when it comes to public land issues. So let's see here, just to kind of show you what's in here. If we go down here to chapter 6, we're way too far there. Okay, so here are the changes in chapter 6. You can see we already had 34 policy statements in this chapter, and so we just continued adding to them. And so I think the thing that we didn't really hit on a lot in our plan back when it was done was different kinds of energy other than oil and gas. So ours mainly focused on oil and gas production, which we're leaving all of that in there. We're not taking it away. That's something that that's the county's policy, is that oil and gas production continue, and that we're in favor of that production. But the county's also in favor of other kind of energy production as well, in addition to that. So those kinds of things are added in here. Natural gas, we hit a little bit more on that. And then other types of energy resources in the proper place: solar, wind energy, and coal as well. Hydrogen, and okay, so that's what's in 6 there. Nuclear as well is part of it. And then I think 12 was the next one. Sorry, it's a long document.
Let's see this.
Okay, so here's 12. Let's see, not too far. So under objectives and policies, some of them we just added to existing policies. This one has to do with traditional and cultural accesses to public lands. And then talking about state institutional trust lands administration properties and federal lands to help increase the value of those lands and enjoyment of the federal public lands. This one was changed at the time that we were working on this. There wasn't a Trails Master Plan. Since then, we have adopted a Trails Master Plan, so that was just changed to show that that's been completed. And then the who's ever administering those public lands can go and look at our Trails Master Plan and know what's in it, and so they can see if there's anything in there that they need to comply with as they come up with their plans. And all of this just has to deal with access to public lands, so. I think 17 was next. Oops. Okay, 16 was next, sorry. This deals with mining. And this, all we're adding, they needed us to add a critical minerals component to our plan, which under the current information that we have, Uintah County doesn't have any of the listed critical minerals on there. Not to say that they're not here, but they're just not known about at this point. So it's just stating that, but that we are in favor of extraction of critical minerals if they are found here at some point. And then the next sections are the new sections that were added. And so these ones aren't in a particular color just because they're all new. So the first one is 29 utility corridors. And so we've added in the overview, different related resources, and this is the format for the whole document. So it's the same format, and then economic considerations, and then our objectives and policies when it comes to these utility corridors. And this is across, again, this all deals with public lands. So we're not talking about private lands. We handle that under our zoning code and different things, but this is all for public lands, and so that as the different public land agencies come up with their plans, they're supposed to refer to our plans and follow them as closely as possible. And if they don't, then, we make comments to them, hey, it doesn't look like you saw this portion of our plan or whatever, and we outline it for them so they can go take a look at it. So you can see in this one we have 32 different policy statements. And then 30 is pipelines and infrastructure. It's related to utility corridors in some aspects. But again, we follow the same same outline as the rest of it. And then we have 32 policy statements under this one as well. So that's what's proposed to be changed in that. And then in the appendix is where all the background information, any studies that were used to come to the different policy statements, that's all put in this document. And the reason we split them is so that the document wasn't, you can see this one's 181 pages. I think the other one was 100 and something pages. So we were trying to condense it and make it to where the federal agencies could easily find our policy statements. And then if they want to do more research into it, they can kind of do a deep dive into the appendix. So I wanted to kind of bring that. I know you guys have started to look at it and review it, but I wanted to get it here in front of the public and have a discussion on it. And then at a future date, bring it back for approval.
Okay. So we're not going to take any action on that today?
Right. And then
How
I
about
don't know if John
John's
wanted to bring
comment?
up.
Was that, I didn't see that in there anywhere. John.
I just emailed him this morning, so,
Yeah.
I was
because
looking.
he probably had other things to do.
Okay.
But I did have two comments that I think, and it doesn't have to be the particular words that I've used, but I think having it as a county policy would be helpful as we address environmental policy coming from Washington. In Chapter 6, if there were something, again, don't have to use these exact words, but if we had a policy that says Uintah County recognizes that the volatile global markets and a dearth of environmental health laws in developing or unstable nations demand that utilizing the mineral resources within the United States of America first before turning to global markets. Further, it is asinine that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve would be tapped before domestic output would be increased. The other policy would be, this is dealing with utility corridors, so in Chapter 29, while Uintah County supports the placement of utility corridors and infrastructure, it does not support the outsourcing of environmental impacts from declining states into Utah. So those two would be awesome, because I would love to use those in other comments later on.
Put it in.
Okay. We can make those additions.
Okay. Matt,
All right. That's all I've got today, unless there's questions on any of it
I
or.
don't know who's all worked on that, but we thank you for your time and efforts on it. It's a big undertaking and appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Do you have the next one too? Who has the next one? Mike? Settlement, Tanya? Okay. Settlement offer on a 2019 Ford Super Duty F-350. This is one of those we bought from was it United Leasing? Or Horsepower? It was one of the two. Oh, it was Horsepower, then they switched over to United Leasing.
Yes, so it is the F-350 2019. It was slated in the GIS department. It is the truck with the VIN number, just for the record, 1FT8W3BTOKE G74536. It was total valued when we originally placed it into the program at $80,477, and the settlement agreement opportunity came back at $75,187.81. It was a total loss in an accident that occurred on October 1st when our vehicle was hit. So in order to accept the settlement, we would need to have the title released to the agency, and they can come and pick up the truck. We've already taken all the hydraulics off of the truck so that they can be placed on a new vehicle to be purchased. This is in Matt's office, and he reviewed the settlement offer, and I also sent it to John.
Who made the determination that it was totaled?
The agency sent
What agency? UAC or
they sent, the insurance sent someone out, and they looked at the vehicle, and because of the airbags,
So it was an adjuster on
Yeah.
their side?
on
not-
their side,
not
yeah,
on
they sent an
USIP
adjuster
side.
down, yeah, because their person hit our vehicle, so it was turned over to their insurance because they were the ones that were liable for the accident.
Okay. And it was placed in at an $80,000 value?
Originally, we put it into USIP, I believe that was with some of the,
All the add-on?
right, because when we put it into USIP, we equal in all of put in the stuff that is also added to the vehicle. And they gave us 75,000, well, that 75,000, where did it go?
187.81.
Yeah,
Made more than we paid for it, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just need approval to accept the settlement and release the title?
right, so we get the title released from the clerk auditor's office so that they can release a check, so that Kazir's office can start seeking out a new vehicle.
So do you need a paper or just a motion, or do you have a sheet we need to fill out?
Motion to accept it.
Okay.
And I think you've kind of addressed it, because we put, what, $20,000 worth of hydraulics and stuff. How much was it that we put? It was a pretty good
Yeah, it
chunk
was.
to put all that.
The pump was 7 and,
No.
yeah, we
They
put probably 10 in the hydraulics, but we've taken it all
Replace that
off.
on the new truck? I mean, it sounds like we're able to keep it.
Yeah, yeah, they.
But will we,
Cost to
my
put-
question is,
Yeah.
are we gonna, we got this truck because it was at the time, it was a good deal. Mm-hmm. And it was a diesel, but really don't need a diesel pickup for that. Will this pump work on a gas engine?
Do you want to come? Okay.
So when talking with Jeff, so this is a sign truck, so Jeff Ellis is the one that's been using it. He said that the pump should work on any engine as long as there's enough room in
In
the
the
engine compartment
Compartment,
to do it, yeah.
okay. So it just runs off the alternator belt, that main
Yeah.
belt?
It's just tied in, and he was saying that our mechanic here could install it
Okay,
in a new vehicle. So.
okay.
Were we able to salvage most of the add-ons or most of the improvements?
Yes, there was a winch on the front that was added on and some equipment stuff in the back of the truck. All of that's been removed and it's just the truck.
And that'll just slide
Yeah.
right into the other?
Yeah, if we do a
Should.
bed, he might be looking at a flatbed. He said that a flatbed just way easier to work out of than
Okay.
a truck with sides, so. But a lot of it will still be able to be used on the new truck as well, so.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Well, were any of the improvements considered in the value that was approved? I mean, did it add to the value of the truck, or those things that, if they had totaled them, would we be looking at?
So from what I saw on that, none of those things were added into their value.
No, they knew that we were going to be removing our add-ons, so they would,
Do we have any idea how many miles was on that truck when they totaled it?
It said their thing said 32,000 something, I believe.
So we got about 30,000 miles
Yeah.
of good out of it plus.
right,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a good deal that we're getting on our
Okay.
trade-in, or on our,
Sounds good.
Settlement.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to accept the settlement offer on the 2019 Ford Super Duty F-350 for $75,187.81 with appropriate signatures and releases
of the title.
of the title.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? John, do you have anything on that one? Okay. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanya. Next item is the public comment. 10 minutes, 3 minutes apiece.
Pam Clinch. I have a comment about the resolution that was passed last week. There's just a couple of real glaring errors to me, Mr. Chair, and a point of clarification. The first line in this talks about the resolution that was passed in August, and it calls it an administrative action. And anytime you pass a resolution, that's like the definition of a legislative action, not administrative. And just as a definition, legislative action means the drafting, introduction, consideration, modification, enactment, or defeat of any bill, resolution, amendment, report, or nomination by a legislative body. So that just jumped right out to me as I read the first line, that to create a resolution is not administrative. It is absolutely a legislative. At the last line, it talks about an action taken on June 6th as a legislative action. And I read that, it's definitely an administrative action. Those two have been mixed up. And the point of clarification is, on June 6th, an action was taken. And I was there, I know what the action taken, I think, is referring to a budget increase on that day. But there were several other actions taken that day. Class B road action was taken. There was a bid opening action was taken. There was indigent defense contract action taken. So to just say an action taken on June 6th to me could mean any of those things. And I have real concerns that those two were mixed up. Legislative action, administrative action. And it's just a mistake, but if it was done intentionally, that's sad because it would set a precedent. That would be wrong. It would set a precedent to make those things look like that's what they are, because they are not. Administrative has to do with budgeting. Any public entity, any entity, business, your administrative actions have to do with your budget, with you create a budget in an administrative action, you increase, decrease. So just when I looked at this after a meeting last week, that just jumped right out to me, that those things probably should be addressed. And I also feel real sad that aim was taken at an individual when it talks about a decision making by an individual, and I'm sure he did not make that he's chosen not to fulfill his obligation. Seems a little derogatory to me to point out a person, because it was an entity that chose not to do that. He didn't make that decision himself. And also, my last thing, you named a bank and a financial institution to help with this in this resolution, but then you left it totally open-ended to say this bank or any other similar institution. And so if you were to change your mind about these that you've chosen, you wouldn't have to come before this body and say it again, because you've just been able to just pick and choose as you want through this resolution. So I just have real concerns with those things. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you public, Jess?
I'm public. I just want to thank the Trails Committee for putting a trail together to get from Discovery to, I live on that intersection, and I have 9 kids, and I got 2 special needs, one's coming up, and it's a big deal for our family and for that area. And the sidewalk on the south will work. You'll have kids on both sides, because you got the bike path on the north side, and the sidewalk on the south will work. I just want to say thank you for a long time coming. And I have to thank the Joneses, because we've always joked about letting our kids sneak across to get across the property to get to school. So I just want to say thank you.
That's
Any
great.
plans for any more kids? Jeff?
That's it. That's it.
Adopt any more?
Well, now that you got the trail,
Thanks, Jess.
Quinn, Tammy Meekum. I want to thank you also. I do want to challenge the commission. We received ARPA money, and you're spending the 3rd round of stimulus COVID money out at Buckskin Hills. Why can't some of that ARPA money be sent to Discovery for Quinn Hammond instead of Buckskin Hills? Also, I want to follow with Pam what she's kind of followed up on. Last week you put a resolution number 10-17-22R1, and in the statement you put on the agenda a resolution appointing an escrow agent and a municipal advisor. But your agenda items are misleading. You had no intentions of putting on there what you really did. You really went out to U.S. Bank on the $26 million bond to get a financial institution to finance this, and you did not invite Mike Wilkins, your financial advisor, and you did not invite Wendy Long, your financial advisor.
Steve Huber. I wanted to make a comment on some things that I seen last week when he was instructed, when I think that John left the instructions that you was not supposed to answer any questions. And I'd like to know whether the county attorney office represents we the people, and I know that you're supposed to give them advice to keep them from doing things that's illegal, but I'd like to know who the county attorney's office represents. We the people, or if your clients are the 3 county commissioners.
Neither.
Any further comments?
Just a quick reminder that today is the walkthrough for the kiddos. So if you have kids or nieces, nephews, grandkids, have them meet over at the library at 2 o'clock and come through the county building and over to our Western Park and Conference Center. There'll be candy being handed out, so come and enjoy that. So thank you. Oh, and it's the last week of breast cancer awareness. Thank you for wearing your pins, commissioners. And if you haven't had an opportunity to go in and have your checks, oh, thank you, Joel. Got your, yep. Anyway, 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, so take a look around the room and make sure you're doing your self-checks and going in for your mammograms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Men too, so get checked.
Okay. With that, you have any comments? Any comments? That I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Oh.